Now, it's always good to learn from those who have gone before us, and it's the same with retirement. Earlier this year, HSBC conducted a survey of Australian retirees. The bad news is 1/3 of them said that their retirement was worse than they were hoping for. But Olivia, what other things did this survey find, and what can we learn from them?
Well, I think it's really good to have a survey like this where you can see, in hindsight, what retirees would do. I think the first thing that they really mentioned was the fact that they would actually start a lot sooner. So having something in place, having a regular savings plan in place a lot sooner in life is something that really stood out. The second thing is they're saying that they should have actually saved more regularly as well. So actually, doing those little bits of money that you sort of don't miss as much, and obviously, doing that with a lot sooner as well means that sort of compounding effect makes a really big difference. So
smaller but often.
Absolutely.
Regular.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the third one was saving more. So underestimating how much they should be saving more regularly as well. They really do think that they should have gone back and looked at, how much they were saving, but also, sort of underestimating how much.
What do you think about the importance of getting a goal, actually talking about and trying to visualise what your retirement's going to be like? Now, realistically, I don't think many people are going to do that in their 20s, are they? But certainly, by the late 40s, for example, they should have a bit of an idea, but shouldn't they, the sort of things they want to do in retirement?
And I think that also stood out from this research is that a lot of people wish they had put a financial plan in place to make sure that they were on target. So having, more than 1/3 of people not actually having enough or what they were expecting in retirement is actually quite staggering. 1 in 3 people not actually living that lifestyle that they've sort of become accustomed to is really quite devastating for a lot of retirees. So definitely having that plan in place, but really I think good to see what are these tips from these people who are sitting in retirement who can't, fix the situation that they're in, but what they can obviously pass on to their kids and colleagues and so on.
Now, obviously the SG, the superannuation guarantee, is higher than it was during the working lives of the current crop of retirees. So that's got to help, hasn't it? But I think most of the numbers show that that's not going to be enough, is it, to be able to buy a comfortable retirement just relying on the SG?
Yeah, well, I think if you're relying purely on the super guarantee to fund you a very comfortable lifestyle, it's probably not going to get you there. I think the important thing is if you're around about the age of 40 now, you've really had a whole working life of superannuation, which is something that we haven't seen with the baby boomer generation. So, they're really in their prime. So if you're around about that 40 years of age, you've got that great foundation where you've had a good 20 years worth of living with super guarantee. It's really just a matter of then, working off that really good foundation and really sort of, lifting, I guess, the amount that you're going to put towards your superannuation and retirement, so that we're not seeing these average balances of $100,000 to $200,000 in superannuation and retirement. We're seeing, hopefully the $500,000 to $1 million, being more the average as we sort of go through different decades.
Now, what about working for longer, staying in the workforce, even at least part-time? That really helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I always say the longer you work, and obviously the more you earn, the less you're actually starting to draw on your superannuation. So don't underestimate, the different ways that you can reduce your workload. So whether it's you take on less responsibility, whether you take on more holidays during the lead up to your retirement. So a lot of employers now will let you take extra holidays.
More flexible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Or even just moving to part-time as opposed to just stopping full-time and going straight into retirement. So lots of ways that you can sort of defer starting to draw on your superannuation quite considerably. And those first 5 years sort of as you transition into retirement are really important. So if you can restrict what you're actually drawing during those years, I think that adds up to a lot in the long term.
Thanks, Olivia. So start early and make frequent but small contributions to your super, and just don't rely on the superannuation guarantee alone. Thanks very much for viewing. Until next time, goodbye.